Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we actually got to graph it. Okay, so to graph it, anytime we graph in this class, we're going to go to the stat plot function. Where is that? That's at the top left. The very top left. It's the very top left button. Let's see. I think it's a gray color. Yeah, it's a gray color. It says y equals, but the one above it says stat plot. That's what we want. Anytime we graph in this class, we're always going to go to stat plot. So to get to stat plot, I need to hit second first. Second. So you're going to hit second, y equals, and then you'll give you this. Okay. When you hit it, it says off. It doesn't say plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, plot 4. Does it say, is it this page, or is just all it says is off? Oh, then don't worry about that. No, it just this. Okay. Yeah. We're going to go to plot 1. We're going to go to plot 1. So plot 1, we enter. Now, if yours says off, you can turn it on. Okay, so eyes up here, eyes up here. No ears. I don't want ears, I want eyes. Okay, eyes up here. See before you do. So let me try this again. We were here. Right? Anytime you want to graph in this class, anytime you want to graph on the calculator, you got to go to stat plot. Stat plot. Okay, so eyes. I want to see eyes up here. I want to feel eyes up here. If you're there already, great. If you're not there, I need you eyes up here. Then you do it. Me do it, you do it. There you go. That's where we're at. I don't care if it says on or off. Doesn't matter to me right now. I'm just trying to get to the graph. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter. That's where we stopped. Now, if it says off, click on. How do you click on? Well, mine's already on, like this. Now it's off. Now it's on. On means you can see it. Off means you won't be able to see it. So make sure it's on. Then we scroll down to the next one. Which of those graphs do I want? Well, I want the one that looks like a bar graph, because that's a histogram, right? So go to that one. If it's not already highlighted, scroll to it, hit enter. Okay. Now down here, you might have something different, because just depending on what your calculator is. Okay. So if it says, it should say X list. X list means where is your list? Where is your list? Our list is in L1, all right? Our list that we made is in L1. So make sure that says L1. If it doesn't, L1 is right here. It's right above the 1. So if it didn't say L1, you do this. You go down and you hit second, 1, and that's L1. Any of these blue things you can get to, you just got to hit second first. Okay? Frequency, we don't touch. Mine says color blue because I have a color. This is a color calculator. But if it's one of the ones from the case, from the bin over there, those aren't color, so it won't have that. Okay. All right. So now let's see our graph. I want to see our graph. To see our graph, we go to zoom. Zoom, middle button, top. And then it'll give us a bunch of options. Well, this is statistics. So we want zoom stat, number 9. Okay, so you can hit number 9 or you can scroll down to hit number 9. It doesn't matter. Enter. There's your picture. Okay, there's your picture. Okay. I forgot how to do it. I don't know how to do it. What did Mr. Flores say? What should I do if you didn't know how to do it, or you missed something, or you can't do it? What should you do? Watch the video. Watch the video. Okay. The video is there forever and ever and ever. So you can go back, pause it, stop, go forward. Right? Okay. All right. What? Okay. So how do you get out of that? I don't want this page. How do I get out of it? There you go. Right? We said we did that yesterday. Second mode, back to the home page. Zoom, stat, there you go. Yes, some of our calculators that are in this bin, I don't know how to say this, but some students are a little careless than others. So some of these calculators, they have little quirks to them because they've done things to this to the calculator intentionally and unintentionally. So sometimes they have little quirks to them. So sometimes when you hit a button, it won't do what you want it to do because another student in the past has messed with it. Okay? So that's another thing, guys. That's another thing. If it comes from the bin, yeah. Did you do exactly what I said? Okay, so what'd you do? Tell me what you did. So if you ask me a question from here, what did I do? You got it? Okay. Yeah. If you get confused with the calculator, this is what happens most of the time with the calculator. You're doing this. When I'm talking, you're doing this. And you totally miss what's going on up here. Okay? Look with your eyes. Your ears are always open so you can hear. Look up here. Watch me do it, and then you do it. If you do that, you'll be fine with the calculator. Okay? It's the people who are doing this, trying to do it on their own. I'm like, whoa, walk, crawl before you walk. Okay, crawl before you walk. And if you need to go watch the video again, go watch the video again. It's okay. It's not a problem. And our book is actually really nice because our book has even instructions each chapter on things we do. Right there. In our book on page 43, making histograms on the calculator. So it gives you on there too. It gives you step by step, everything we just did, step by step. Or like I said, the video. Okay. So anytime we're doing calculator, watch before you do. Watch before you do. Because I get the people, oh, I know how to do this. And then they don't know what to do. And then I've already done it. Okay. So just watch before you do. All right. So again, so let's say, okay, so I want to know how wide these intervals are. Because they did it. I didn't do it. They did it, right? So this is what you do. You hit the button trace. Go find the button trace. Give you a hint. It's right next to zoom. Hit that button. Hit that button. It gives you some information. It gives you some things here. It tells you, okay, so this interval, the minimum number, that means the lowest number, was from 16 to 26.5. That was that interval. There were 5 numbers in there. Okay. Click to the right. Click to the right. The next interval picked up at 26.5. So everything above 26.5 to 37. There were 4 in there. So on and so forth. Okay, that's what they did. So their interval size was about 11 and 10 and a half. Yeah, 10 and a half. That was their interval size. I don't expect yours to be 10 and a half because that's kind of, 10 is fine, 9 is fine. Whatever you chose, as long as they're all the same size. Okay. So I'm done with that one. I want to do another one because if you look on the warm up, there's one I want you to make. Okay, so I'm done with that one. I want to do another one. What do I do? Okay, so eyes, stat, edit. I don't need this list anymore, right? I did it already. I don't need this list anymore. I need to clear the list. Okay, so we did this yesterday. So to clear the list, you're going to go up to the list that you want, hit clear. Don't hit delete, hit clear. Clear's right underneath the arrow down. And then scroll back down. Empty list. Okay. So now what I want you to do is I want you to do this one all in the calculator. So the one that I have for you guys is the one that was on your desk when you first got in. This one right here. Daily high temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit in Pismo Beach for the month of April last year. I always include this one in August because it's always 130 here and it's always nice in Pismo. So these are the temperatures for every day in April. April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd. Okay, so what I want you to do is create a histogram. Now, if you're doing it on the calculator, you don't need tables. The calculator will do it for you. Okay, so do the steps we just did. Get your picture. Get your picture. Don't draw it. I'll show you how to draw it. Just get your picture. Okay, get your picture. The picture on the calculator? Get the picture. Don't draw anything. Don't write anything. Just get your picture. I'll show you how to write it. Right? Because we're not doing a table on this one. So just give me a picture. What is the picture? You all should have the same picture once you do it because it's all the same numbers. I believe there are 31 numbers. Yeah, 31 numbers. Yep. Everyone should look the same. Yeah. So once everyone's around you is done, your picture should be the same because it's the same data. Okay. So that's how you'll know if you did it right or not. Oops. 7, 0. So first thing, put the numbers in. 62. I haven't got the picture yet. I stopped here because I wanted to go over it one more time. Okay. So I got I got my numbers in there, right? List 1, 31 numbers. That's what this means. L1, comma, or L1 parentheses 31 means 48 is your 31st number. Okay. Double check your numbers before you put the graph in, because sometimes when your graph turns out weird, it's because one of these numbers is wrong. Sometimes, and it happens to me all the time, instead of 40 something, I just put 4 and it throws everything else off. So most of the time, if your picture doesn't come out the way you should, it's because one of these numbers here is off. That's the first thing you want to check if your picture doesn't come out the way it should be. Okay. All right. Stat plot. Second, y equals. Okay. Go to number 1. If it's not on, turn it on. Just highlight it, enter, it's on. If it's not on. Okay, so they give me different types of graphs. I still want the histogram. L1, frequency 1. Color doesn't matter. If you don't have a color, it doesn't matter. Okay, now I'm ready to see my picture. So now I'm going to go to zoom and then zoom stat. You can either go down or you can just hit number 9. Hit enter or hit number 9, and there's your picture. So if your picture doesn't look like that, it's probably because something in your list was wrong. So that's where I would go check. Go check your list. If the picture doesn't come out the way it should, go back to your list and make sure the numbers that you put in are the numbers you wanted. Like I said, the common mistake, and I always see it, and it happens to me, is instead of 68, I put 6. I forgot to put 68, or when I hit the button, it didn't read my 68. Okay, so that's the most common thing. All right, so this is how we draw it. I'm going to show you how you draw it. Since we don't do a table, because we're doing it on the calculator now, how do we draw it? Well, this is how I'm going to draw it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 intervals, right? So on my paper, I'm going to draw a x-axis and a y-axis. Okay. And I'm going to try to draw best I can that picture. Okay. It's a sketch. Is it perfect? No. I'm just trying to match the picture. It gives me a general idea because it will help me when I'm trying to determine the next question, when I'm trying to answer the next question, because the next question they'll always ask is about shape. What approximate shape is that guy there? What approximate shape is that guy there? So in terms of shape, we talked about this yesterday. We have 3 options. Well, more than 3, but 3 general options. We have, this is from yesterday, we have symmetrical, classic symmetrical with 2 peaks, one in the front, one in the back. Symmetrical uniform, all about the same. They all have about the same. Skew to the right means most of the data is on the low side. Skew to the left, most of the data is on the high side. Those are the options we have. Now, it won't fit perfectly. I'm not looking for perfect. I'm looking for approximate. Which one does it fit approximately? Here's the thing. I will take 3 different answers. I will take 3 different answers, but that will be based on why. It says comment on the shape. So if you just said skew right, I don't think it's skew right. Wrong. But if you tell me why you think it's skew right, I might buy that and give you full credit. So it's approximately which shape. Okay. So uniform, you said symmetric uniform, Remy. Why, what led you to that? Perfect. Put that in a sentence. I give you credit. I bought that. That makes sense. Is that the only answer? No. What's another answer? What, those of you that don't think it's symmetric, which one, or symmetric uniform, which one could it, what could it be? Mhm. Skew right. What gradually goes down? So what when is it skew right? When what is what? When the what is what? Perfect. When most of the data, majority of the data is on the left side. Okay, because when you say goes down, that could mean a couple different things. It could mean going down like this, or it could mean going down like this. So if you were saying most of the data is on the low side, that means it's going to go down this way. If you said the opposite, that would be the opposite. Okay, so there you go. Okay, most of the high bars, you could say most of the high bars are on the left side. Okay, I accept that answer. That works for me. Full credit. What I don't want to see is just an answer. I want to see why you chose that. Most of the time students miss it. It's because they just say skew right, skew left, symmetric, symmetric uniform. I don't agree. Marked it wrong. If you tell me why and it makes sense, I'm going to give you credit. I'm going to give you some leeway. Okay? I told you guys last week, you have to explain yourself. You have to explain yourself. If you don't explain yourself, it's going to be a struggle. Okay? Why do you think something is? Because that's the difference about stats. In stats is different because there's more than one answer sometimes. There's more than one answer. In math classes, there's always been one answer, just one answer, and you have to get it right. In stats, it's open to interpretation. We're interpreting it. So I'm more interested in why you thought it's skew right or skew left or symmetric. Okay? So just make sure, that's what I'm going to put here. Make sure you explain your answer as detailed as possible. Now, you don't need a paragraph. A sentence is fine. Okay? But just make sure you explain yourself. Why? Why is that true? Okay? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for why. Why do you think it's skew right? Why do you think it's skew left? Okay? That's what it means by comment. Comment on that. Tell me about it. Tell me what you think and why. Okay? All right. Okay, so the next part of the chapter. We're going to be dealing more with numbers now instead of pictures, graphs. We still got one graph we got to cover, but the majority of it is numbers now. And this thing called SOX and center of measure of center, and box plots. Box plots is the graph we haven't talked about yet. We'll talk about that. Okay, so if there's one thing I can stress to you, because you're going to see this all year long, they're going to say, describe the distribution. They're going to say, describe the distribution. When they say that, these are the four things I want you to comment on. Shape, just like we just did. What is it and why do you think it? Outliers, we'll talk outliers probably tomorrow. Center, center is either the mean or the median. And we'll talk about the difference in a second here. Spread, spread. There's two measures of spread, IQR and standard deviation. And then the range. What's the range? What's range mean? Range of the data. Like this data right here.
What number starts and what number the value or whatever it is ends.
Yeah. Where does it start? Where does it finish? How much of a difference is this? So the lowest number here is 48, 46, 46 minus the biggest number, which was 70, 72, I see, 72. So 72 minus 48 is 24. So the range is 24. Okay. That's what the range is. Okay. So we talked about shape. We know how to do shape now. We know how to do shape. Okay. So we're done with that one. The next one we're going to talk about is center. Center. Okay. All right. There are two measures of center. There are two measures of center. One is the mean, the average. How do I find average? Like if I wanted to find the average score on a quiz, how would I find the average? Perfect. Yeah. So if there's 25 of you, I'd add up all of your scores, divided by 25, and that's the average, right? That's one measure of center. Okay. And then there's the median, the middle point. To do that one, I have to put them in order first. Put them in order, least to greatest, count off until I get to the middle. Okay. Which one do we use? We don't always use both of them. The one we choose is depending on shape. Depending on shape. Okay. And I'll tell you why. I'll give you an example. Okay, so in Fresno every weekend, in the Fresno Bee, they always list the median home value in Fresno, the median home value. So out of all the homes that are bought that month, they tell me the median home value, but they never tell me the mean home value or the middle, or sorry, the average. They always tell you the median home value. Why is that? Why do you think for home values, how much you pay for your house, they always tell you the median? They don't ever tell you the average house. The average house sold for, they never tell you that. They always tell you the median. Why is that?
Because if you take the mean, it's probably a bigger price.
Yeah. So in Fresno, most of the houses are around here. Now there's some that go for more and there's some that go for less, but it's not a lot. They go for right around here. Right? There are a few that are cheaper and there are some that are more expensive. Problem is, let me draw a number line to better explain this. Okay, so most houses in Fresno are between 200,000 and about 400,000. Now it's probably more like 500,000 because home values are going up a little bit. So I'll change this to 500,000. So if you live in a home, more than likely the home is worth between 200,000 and 500,000. My house is in there. Okay, your guys is if you live in a house, I'm not talking about apartments. I'm talking about houses, right? Most of us live in houses like that. But if you drive around Fresno, shoot, if you just look across the street, there are homes, properties that are worth millions and millions of dollars, right? Farm right there, farm right there, farm right there, farm over there, right? Farms are worth millions of dollars. You look at it and you're like, why? It doesn't even look like much. They are. They are worth millions of dollars. If you want to sell farmland, it's worth millions of dollars, right? So you think we're out here in the country and there's nothing out here. Millionaire, 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 all the way down. But there's not a lot of them, right? They're out here in the country, but if you go into town, there's no farms, right? In the town where most people live, right? Most people live in town. Some people live out here in the country, but most people live in town, right? In town, this is where you're at, most likely. In the country, if you have lots of property, you're way over here. So what happens if I find the average? I add a lot of numbers in here, right? I add a few numbers in here. What is that going to do to my average when I add these guys in? The average is going to go, woo! It's going to get pulled out there, right? Now, is that a true assessment of homes in Fresno? No. because there are not a lot of farms compared to houses, right? If you've been down Van Ness, same thing. If you've driven down Van Ness, $1 million homes too, but there's not a lot of them. Van Ness is only one at street, and there's not that many homes compared to where most of us live, right? So when I include those guys in here, they're pulling the mean towards them. So it's bloated. The number is bigger than it should be. But with the median, it doesn't do that. The median doesn't do that. The median is a better number that would help reflect it. The median would be right around here. If I were to do the average, it would probably go over here. The average, let's say, is over here. Well, that's not true. Most of the homes are between 200,000 and 500,000. So why is the average way over here? Because those $1 million homes are pulling it that way. Okay, so it's not a good reflection. It's not a good reflection. The median, though, would probably be somewhere in there, which is a better reflection. Okay. Pro players. This is it. We'll be done after I say this. Pro basketball, baseball, football players. I was just looking at a contract. There was LeBron James just signed a contract right now. Just signed a contract today. He's making $50 million a year. He's going to make $50 million a year. And you're like, man, I should be a basketball player. LeBron James is one of these guys out here. Even in the pros, most of the people don't even make $1 million in the NBA. They don't even make $1 million in the NBA. Now, they make good money. Don't get me wrong. They make a lot of money. But when you think of a pro player, they're like, man, football is the worst. Football is the worst. They pay, Devontae Adams just got a huge contract. He's an oddity. He is out there. The rest of the players, like the guys you see that play on Sunday, they're in here. But your eyes get drawn to these guys. Whoa, look at all that money they make. Baseball too. Baseball, there's some guys that can't even afford a house and they're professional baseball players. You're like, how's that happen? Well, because you see people way out here, you see Aaron Judge way out here making 20, 30, 40 million dollars a year, and you're like, whoa, they make a lot of money. Yeah, but there's only one Aaron Judge. Everyone else is here. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? So if I was to find the average of all the football players' contracts, that would be over here, but it wouldn't reflect everyone, right? Most of the players make here. Quarterbacks, of course, they make a lot because they're important. But there's a lot of backup tight ends. There's a lot of backup linebackers, right? There's only so many starters on the team. So that's another way. That's another thing that draws them out there. So when do we use the mean? We use the mean when the data is symmetrical. When the data is symmetric, we use the mean. Because guess what? The mean and the median are going to be in the same spot. Okay? Yeah, with all symmetrical. With all symmetrical, the mean and the median are going to be in the same spot, in the middle, because it's symmetrical. If it's skew at all, then that's what we're talking about. Home values, NFL football players' contracts, all of that stuff. Those are skewed. There's not a lot. NFL contracts, NBA contracts are skewed to the right. There's not a lot of LeBron James. There's only a few Kevin Durant's, right? There's a lot of other players that are over here. Most of the players are over here. If you actually look at their contracts, they make good money, but they don't make LeBron James money. They don't make Kyrie money, right? They don't make Kyrie money. They don't make any, right? So that's where, okay? All right. Okay, so we'll pick up there tomorrow. Bring your questions tomorrow. So if you do the assignment, I hope you do the assignment. Bring your questions tomorrow. If you have any questions, we'll go over it first thing. Okay?